Hello, I'm Andrew Morley. I'm the Chief Executive of the London Criminal Justice Board. An important role for criminal justice agencies is providing sentencers with information on the availability and effectiveness of options they have available to them. It's for this reason that we were so keen to participate in the Tag a Mag initiative. We know that tagging is an increasingly popular option, whether that be as a condition of bail or requirement of a community penalty. And we thought it important to provide sentencers, and just as importantly those who advise sentencers, information about what tagging involved. We do know that in certain circumstances tagging can be a helpful option. We now have significant base of evidence that talks about the contribution to reducing in reoffending, that maintaining family life, keeping in employment or education can make. Whilst in certain circumstances custody or a less rigorous regime is absolutely the right thing to do, there will be circumstances whereby introducing a tag can do what it needs to do in terms of public protection and ensuring the compliance of the court's wishes, but also can help that offender continue with their family life, their job, going to college, and in doing that much more likely to ensure that they don't continue onto an offending career.
The London Criminal Justice Board contacted me in the summer and asked if I would participate in this, and I asked for a couple of days to think about it and to speak to my family and see what they thought about it, and then I thought, as I say, it's an opportunity that I just couldn't turn down, because I think it would be so helpful to know exactly the restrictions that it places on someone. It will be a great advantage to me, and I hope to others, to actually experience tagging and the limitations, or not, that it has on one's life. I just want to know if it is a real punishment.
The process of electronic monitoring is basically we will receive an order from the court in our headquarters. This will then be relayed to the local monitoring officer, who will then go to the address, basically knock on the door, identify the person to be tagged, also identifying themselves. They will then enter the property and then go through what we call the induction process. With any program that we're dealing with, part of the success of electronic monitoring is that swift action of reporting it back to the agency, and then the adjudication of the agency to make sure that person's dealt with in the appropriate fashion. If an offender tries to remove the tag or undermine the system in some way, there are various security alerts that go off back at the monitoring centre. Just by pulling it rigorously or trying to interfere with it may set the tag off if somebody was trying to slip it off their ankle. If this happens, it will alert the monitoring centre, and then monitoring staff will be dispatched to the address to investigate any tamper of the equipment, whether it's the tag or the monitoring box in the house. If somebody tried to lift the box, mess around with the aerials that you see on the box, or even unplug it, it does register back at the monitoring centre. We will explain the times of the order, we will explain the requirements of the order, and there will be a little booklet that we go through with the person being tagged. So once we've fitted the tag to them, it will then be, if you like, associated with the box, with the monitoring device, and then this will then connected through telecommunications to our monitoring centre that monitor the compliance of that person.
You're now live and
Yes.
you're being monitored.
The boundaries that we set for people within their living area are quite accurate. We're talking maybe a metre or two outside the back door or the front door. So if you were to put your arm or leg out, it wouldn't necessarily register. You would have to clearly walk down the path onto the road, and within a couple of minutes it would realise that you were not present at the address. Then when you came back into the address, it then reports, as soon as you come back into the sphere or the bubble, it reports that you're back in the location.
First of all, have you got your court papers so I can identify you, please?
Oh yes, I've got them here.
Thank you. I'll just briefly go over your curfew hours.
Yes.
Okay. your curfew starts today on the 6th of the 1108, and it finishes on the 13th of the 1108, and it's 7 o'clock in the evening to 6 in the morning.
Right.
Okay.
The tag is a small plastic watch type like device. It's a transmitting device powered by a battery. It's fitted to the ankle by a plastic strap with an optic fibre inside. We measure the ankle and then select the strap. We then put the tag and the strap on the ankle, and then it's fixed on. So once the strap's connected to the tag, it creates, if you like, a circuit, and if it's broken it will alert us that there's a tamper.
Those who require a community order, we can attach requirements to that, and one of them is a tagging requirement. Or if someone is released on bail, it's very useful to have an electronic monitoring with a curfew period so that we know where they are between certain hours, or keep them inside the house, particularly if they're a nighttime offender. I don't know how I'm going to react is really the honest answer to that. I don't know whether it's just going to be a nuisance, or whether I'm going to forget that it's there, or whether it's going to restrict my life, or what. Carol from Serco came and tagged me about 5:30 this evening, and it is now 10:30 and all is well. Within about an hour of being tagged, I violated my curfew because I ran into the garden to collect my washing. Whether or not that's been picked up by the centre in Norwich, I'll probably learn tomorrow. Day 1, 10:30. An uneventful night. Tag and I slept well, and I went out this morning, and although I seemed to be aware that people were looking at me, they probably weren't, because there was no way they could have seen the tag, as I was wearing trousers and probably will continue to do so over the whole week. It took a little bit longer, and it was more fiddly to bath and get dressed this morning, but apart from that it hasn't disrupted my normal activities. My family seem to have suffered more than me today from me wearing a tag, because this evening my youngest daughter needed to go to a firework party with her friend, and I couldn't take them because I wouldn't be back in time for the curfew at 7. The second day, Saturday morning. After recording last night, I became a little frustrated with tag because it was dictating what I could and couldn't do in my life. And it was only last night that I inspected the tag in more detail. There is no way that tag is coming off except by cutting it. So tag and I are going to have to come to some understanding over the next 6 days, I think. Day 3, Sunday morning. It was an uneventful evening, except about 6 o'clock I had to sign a warrant for the police. I didn't talk about the tag because we needed to stay focused on the job in hand, but I'll bet it's the first warrant that's ever been signed by someone wearing a tag. It seems to be a long week to me, and the novelty of the tag seems to be wearing off a bit. I got a bit frustrated with it this morning. If I had done something wrong, then it would be a constant reminder that I had done something wrong. Sometimes during the day I am unaware of it, but then one is brought up sharply, either to try and hide the tag from people when I go out, or from actually managing it during the processes of normal living. The fourth day, Monday. It seems I've had the tag on for much longer than 4 days.